Welcome, everyone, to Core Values, an official podcast of Broken Arrow Schools on the Arrow Vision Network. I'm your host, Adam J. Foreman, and with me today I have some special guests. We have Chuck Perry, the Associate Superintendent of Student Services. Welcome, Chuck.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And we have Carla Dias, the Associate Superintendent of Instructional Services. Welcome, Carla.
Thank you.
Okay, before we go any further, I'm going to grab each of one of you and have you give me like a 90-second spiel about who you are, what you do in the district, and your history with the district. So we're going to start with Chuck first.
I'm actually a 1987 grad of Broken Arrow, and I started my teaching career back in 92. And
Teaching what?
Teaching world geography, in-school suspension, and physical education.
There you go.
And taught that and was the boys' head soccer coach. And gosh, that's been over 30 years ago now.
I don't believe it.
And did that. Left the district for a little bit, came back, and had the opportunity to be a assistant superintendent, associate superintendent now, over athletics, fine arts,
whatever we want you to do,
student
right?
activities, the Performing Arts Center, and a little bit of everything else along the way.
Well, and for those listeners, he's also a coach for the state-winning soccer team last year. Boys soccer team.
For a short period of time
on that.
at the very end. But
pinch hitter, but wrong sport.
it was a good time, and it was great connecting with the kids again so closely. Feel separated at times, but also like to say, my wife was 87 grad here.
All right, we got two lifers.
My parents graduated here in 1950. My brother in 70, and my sister in 75. So this is
You're what is called a legacy.
I guess so.
A legacy.
I guess so. I'm just proud of it.
Well, we're glad you're here. All right, Carlo, tell me about you a little bit. Tell the listeners about you. I know all about you.
All right. I don't know. Do you?
Do I? I might be surprised.
Maybe. All right. Well, I'm a lifelong educator. I'm from Colorado originally, so that's where I started my teaching career. Moved to Oklahoma. I started off actually as a volunteer at one of our elementary sites. And mid-year, they needed a teacher, so I got hired at Wolf Creek in Broken Arrow. Taught there, was the assistant principal there, was the assistant principal at a couple other schools, building principal, director, and now I'm the associate superintendent over instruction.
I think when I met you, you were at Arrow Springs.
That's right.
Is that correct?
That was my first principal job.
Wow.
So
yeah.
I've been in the district. This is my 23rd year.
How about that?
I have 3 high school graduates from BA schools.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's a great place to be.
I interviewed some people yesterday on a podcast, and everybody that talked, every school they'd been at is no longer around.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
It's like, you're the school killers
Yeah.
in this group.
Yeah.
It was so funny. So let's talk about National Merit Semi-Finalists. So this is a national program, and BA always has a wonderful representation. Did we have 9 this year? Is that correct?
That is correct. We have 9 and 2 commended, and we are super proud of that.
What does commended mean?
Commended means they didn't quite make the cut for a semifinalist, but they are still going to qualify. They're in I can't tell you the exact percentage, but they're in the upper percentage.
So
it's
they
a huge
went
honor
the
as well.
they've done the
scholarships.
Oh, well, there
It's a
you
huge
go.
honor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is all based on SAT. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And so these kids have been working hard the past, since they started really elementary school. We really attribute it to foundational skills from elementary, middle, and high school. Dr. Vinson's goal has been to make our curriculum robust, and now we are seeing the fruits of our labor.
Well,
Great
there's
job by
such
our
a
teachers, too.
varied group of kids, too. It's not just like, here's your typical kids that are going to be this. Like, every time I've met them and talked to them, wide range of fine arts involvement, academic, athletic. It's incredible.
It is. They're very, just very articulate kids. You can tell that they've dedicated themselves to their academic careers when they speak, and it makes you proud to just be connected with them in some way, because they're shining lights, and we know they'll do great further in their careers.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Yeah,
You have a very
absolutely.
great radio voice, by the way. It's it's good. It's great. Not that you don't have one, Carla,
Okay, the
but
pressure.
it's like, it's so, it's got that bass in it.
Soothing.
Yes, soothing, if you will. So they're 9 out of 3,000 plus kids on this campus, which is
Correct.
phenomenal. Speaking of campus sizes, there's been lots of discussion lately about a possible 8th grade center. Let's talk a little bit about that. I know it's in the very, very, very early stages, but what would be the advantages of having something like that in Broken Arrow?
Well, we've looked at various places to place a 6th middle school, and through those discussions over the last couple of years, we've looked at and done some research on 8th grade centers and how that would impact our district. One of the first advantages would be that the 6th and 7th grade sites now, you wouldn't have to redistrict those at all.
Oh, huge bonus there.
Huge bonus
For
because
all those parents listening.
that's something that's very upsetting to families, it seems like. But also academically, that transition between the 8th and ninth grade year is very crucial. There's a lot of research out there on long-term success and obtaining a high school diploma based upon your 8th grade year, and having that, I guess, continuity and kind of pulling our resources together too for those 8th graders would be a advantage there. We also look at our athletics and fine arts and our activities across the district, and the elimination of a lot of those shuttles that we're trying to get kids bussed all over the district from 5 different middle schools is a real challenge with the amount of square miles we have in the district. So that would eliminate a lot of those shuttles.
Well, I can't imagine who has to figure out those schedules. My gosh, they
Oh, yeah.
deserve an Oscar
Someone
medal
smarter
or
than me.
something.
But a lot of good things, and we're looking to it now. And again, financially, as school districts are strapped across the state, and we're looking at different ways to save money instead of trying to duplicate, again, 5 different resources, 5 different sites. We're able to pull those things together, and I think it'll be a good thing for our district.
Well, and Carla, you and I had talked about like the maturity level, the difference between a 6th grader and an 8th grader. Like, talk about that, even when as it relates to education, as it relates to social emotional learning, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. As we've been visiting with the middle school teachers, they love the idea. Because when you have a 6th grader come in, they're basically 11 years old, a lot of them,
Right.
still figuring out the transition from elementary to middle school, missing recess, class parties. And then by the time they're in 8th grade, they're pre-high school, they're looking at college, career opportunities. So we're really looking to our pathways. How can we help our 8th graders be more focused so when they get into 9th grade, they have a clear focus on those pathways and that maturity level?
I also told my guests that I had the other day that they were all middle school teachers too. And I said, you all deserve a special place in heaven.
Absolutely.
Because middle schoolers are unique children.
They're fun to teach, though. They're very moldable,
Yeah.
the students. And what's funny, I can remember, I was thinking about this the other day, barely remember when we moved from the junior high concept to the middle school concept, when Dr. Oliver did that. Had to be late 70s, early 80s, somewhere in there. And just, thinking about that was a new way of doing things. So I do want to be innovative and cutting edge.
So where was the junior high in this district?
Well, there were several of them. I remember, like, my sister went to Sequoia, and it was 7th through 9th during that time
I
period.
didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Wow.
Learned something new.
Elementary is, through the 6th grade.
I knew Dr. Oliver was crucial to the development of our middle schools, which was a huge success.
He's like crucial to my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's such an amazing human
Yeah.
being. So coming up real soon is the Teacher of the Year process, and that's where we span across the district, and each school site nominates a Teacher of the Year for their site, and then they all compete. Well, I don't like to say the word compete. That sounds like a race. They are all in the running for District Teacher of the Year. How does that process work every year? What goes into that?
Well, it's very organic because it starts at the site level. Teachers lead the committees. They talk about what we want out of our teachers, what that teacher looks like, and then the staff nominates the teachers. It's all staff.
So it's all peer
It's all
reviewed.
peer,
Wow.
yes. And then they get down to like finalists, and then each site votes on their finalists. It's a huge honor. Most of the schools do some type of special celebration within their site, and then we have the announcement day mid-October. And then our
So those are
communications
coming
team-
up,
Yes,
like,
yes.
very soon.
Actually,
Holy
our
cow.
sites right now are voting on that Teacher of the Year process. They're
Okay.
in the middle of it. Yes.
Well, and our current District Teacher of the Year is Michelle McCarver from Rosewood
Who is
Elementary.
amazing.
She is incredible.
She is special.
She's one of those people that can just step up to a
Yes.
mic and
Yes.
not even blink.
Yes.
I wish I had that ability. I do
you do.
not. Not as good as Miss McCarver does. And my fine arts heart that is out in me loves the fact that she's a music teacher.
Absolutely.
And the District Teacher of the Year, because a lot of times fine arts doesn't rise to that occasion.
Correct.
Not that they're not any better or best, but I have a soft spot for fine arts teachers. But so that process will be in a couple of weeks.
Correct. And then we'll announce all the site winners, and they have an opportunity to do a personal interview with a committee. They have a portfolio they complete, and then we'll announce it at the big teacher of the year gala in usually April.
Yes. And then the winner of the district teacher of the year goes on to Oklahoma State Teacher of the Year, correct?
Correct. But the state did change that process a little bit this year, so any teacher can apply for it. But
No way.
correct, yes.
Interesting.
But then our the one that we've voted for will be the one that represents our district.
Well, I got to say, when I was at the district teacher of the year announcement this year, when Michelle won, two former Oklahoma teachers of the year, Kay Long and Kay Webb. No,
Linda Webb.
Linda Webb and Kay Long. They immediately gravitated her and said, "You need anything, we were here for you."
They support each
Unbelievable.
other for
awesome.
years. Yes.
It's a kinship that
It
just
really
is
is.
unbelievable. And all the teachers of the year that come back every year,
Yeah.
just an incredible group of people. And of course, we had a national teacher of the year finalist a couple of years ago.
Yes.
So we aren't playing around.
No, we know what we're doing. We have great teachers. If we
We
could
do.
have more than one per year, we would. We have amazing
We
teachers.
should. So a lot of teachers do what we call professional development. Parents see this on calendars. They see it, PD days. And some people don't understand, what is professional development? What is it, and why is it important for our teachers? So let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay. Want me to start?
Either
Okay.
one. I'll just lob the volleyball at either
Mr.
one.
Perry and I are looking at each other. Basically, it can look anyway. Professional development is an opportunity for a person, whether it's a teacher or whatever, to grow professionally. Just like you want your doctor to stay up on the up-to-date research methods, we want
certainly
the same for
do,
our teachers.
yeah.
Correct. And that's what we always talk about. Even though we all went through our college and have our certification, we can continue to learn and improve as our kids do. So it's just a great opportunity for them to learn and improve. We did a survey of all of our teachers last spring to see how they wanted to receive professional development, when they would want to receive it. And a lot of the feedback we received was they want it on that distance learning Mondays.
What a great segue, because I was going to ask about distance learning Mondays. A lot of parents hear the word distance learning and they scream and they run, especially when I'm saying it over a phone call to them. And how important is that distance learning Monday for that once a month for those teachers to get together?
Oh, it's essential. That's their opportunity to grow professionally. In the morning is dedicated to the instruction side for our students, and then the afternoon's dedicated to the professional development, which also includes PLCs, which are professional learning communities. So it may look like a small group of teachers working together. It may be a district-driven initiative, but they are receiving professional development all afternoon. And even Mr. Perry's teams are doing the same.
They are. And I kind of look at it even as a coach. You're not, as a teacher, we don't want teachers to lay out their lesson plans for the entire year and have to have the students adapt to those lesson plans. We want teachers to meet the needs of kids where they're at and bring them along and get them to the end where they should be. And that gives teachers some time to reflect, to collaborate with other teachers, finding out what's successful in their classroom. And we don't want teachers in silos. And that gives us a great opportunity to share, because that's what so much of education is about.
Well, and if you think about it, teachers don't really see each other that much during the school day because
Right.
they're all in their classrooms and teaching. So that time to be together is pretty essential for their collaborative nature.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And-
we've received great feedback. They really enjoy it, and the students enjoy the time too. And it also assists us with keeping our students in practice of distance learning, so that when we do have
Just
to
in
transition,
case.
correct, you have to call one of our snow days.
Yes.
They remember the practices and procedures.
And we were well aware to the late start Wednesdays. We heard that very clearly from our parents.
I
That
was a parent
burden.
during Late Start Wednesdays.
Yeah.
It was a burden.
It was
for
hard to
them.
remember sometimes.
Yes, so-
because my kid would be sleeping, I'd be like, "Do I need to wake her up? What day is this?" Yeah, so I get that.
And that's the distance learning Mondays replaced that late start Wednesdays.
Which, you guys got that feedback, which is incredible because you never know until you ask.
Right.
So speaking of curriculum and teachers and all the stuff, Chuck, you're over the sports programs in the district, and let's talk about how that interacts with curriculum, because there's lots of programs aimed towards the sports kids, like sports media, sports medicine, the trainers that are part of the football teams and the other teams. How important is that for that academia to come together with the curriculum side, with the athletic side?
I think it's great. And as Dr. Vinson has laid out the project pathways, we really want to expand that a lot into the medical field with our student trainers and athletic trainers, and grow that program and give them some opportunities to earn some scholarships in college along with careers in that field. I think with the sports media, kids are getting some opportunities now through Aerovision that it'd take a major job with a major media company to get the wisdom and just skill set that's been passed along to them. I just love this opportunity for kids, and as a whole, not only athletics and fine arts. It's very evident that kids that are plugged into these types of things are more successful in school. It's one of the biggest indicators, research-wise, that students are less likely to get involved in drugs and alcohol. Teen pregnancy rates go down when kids get involved in that. Success later on in college is actually tied to being engaged in something in high school. So we're proud of that.
You think about all the state-of-the-art equipment they have that we didn't have when we were in their age group. I went to Claremore, so we barely had a bell that rang during the day. But you think about like the studio we're sitting in. My gosh, unbelievable what they have already at their fingertips. I bet some universities do not have this kind of advantage in the electronics and technology.
I would totally agree, and that's been an advantage of staying one high school, is that we're able to again take those dollars and instead of trying to spread them out over several sites, we're able to pull it in together and give all kids these opportunities.
Well, I wasn't going to go down that trail of splitting high school. Very polarizing. Yeah. You might as well have a whole podcast about redistricting and see how fun it becomes. Yeah. All right. So we're nearing the end. See, this wasn't that long.
No.
Wasn't that crazy? So I'm gonna do a pop quiz with you all.
Okay.
You don't know what the questions are, but I do. And we'll just test your knowledge of Broken Arrow.
Okay, ready.
Oh, no. We have a lifer next to me. He has an advantage.
So if he loses, you get to gloat for the rest of your life. Okay, so then you guys can both give me an answer or discuss it between yourselves. I don't know. Okay. What year was BA Schools founded?
1904.
1912.
1904 it is. Yeah. I hope they put a little ding, ding, ding in there. I'll tell Greg to do that afterwards. All right. What year? Okay, hold on. Let me back up. We're getting ready to celebrate our 20,000th student enrolled in probably the next school year, which we've talked about before on this podcast and plans for that. But what year was the 10,000th student enrolled in BA Schools? This may just be a huge guessing game.
He definitely has an advantage. But I feel like we talked about this. 1987.
1979.
Oh.
Wow.
In our PAC-ESC, we have a picture of Dr. Oliver Penning.
That's right.
The 10,000th kid. I don't know. I should have asked you, what was the name of the kid who was Penn? All right, this is one that we talked about too, and maybe you remember. What is the name of the first superintendent of Broken Arrow Schools?
I have no clue, but Chuck should know because he went and looked at the picture.
I did. It's not Hollowball.
You're on the right consonant. You're getting there.
I cannot think of his name.
It is Horton. G.W. Horton.
That's right.
Yes. All right. In square miles, how big is Broken Arrow School District?
128.
117.
115 square
Okay.
miles.
I got
Wow,
one.
she's closer.
If it was Price is Right, you would win. Or would you both lose? You can't go over, right? I haven't seen that show in so long. All right, so here's the final quiz, the final one. BA School District is bordered by 5 area school districts. Name those 5 school districts.
Coweta, Catoosa,
Bixby.
TPS, Union.
That's it. That's the 5.
That's 5.
Yes,
wow.
Union,
That was
Tulsa,
5.
Catoosa, Coweta, and Bixby.
Hey.
I had to really go look that up too because I thought, wait, is no? There's no Rogers County part right there except for Catoosa. Yeah,
I always forget about Catoosa.
yeah.
People don't realize how far the district goes out on that north side. Out
Yeah,
to
because it's
21st
also
Street.
a whole other zip code.
Yes.
And people don't realize how many zip codes. I should have put that in here too because we've looked at so much data over the past year. We probably could recite those in our sleep. Well, that's the quiz. I'd say you won
We did.
something.
What do we win?
High five for me later. I know that's a terrible consolation prize. But before we close, I always give people a little finisher 90-second. Anything that you want the listener to know going forward about the district or just anything in general, Broken Arrow.
I'll give a shout out to our softball team for winning regionals last night at Jinx. So they're into the state championship with Coach King leading the program. Coach Bullen's got volleyball headed next week into regionals. Our football team, we're ready to roll and finish out with wins for the rest of the year, regular season, and at the very worst, take that second place in the district and get that first round game at home. Our drama program is headed in the next couple of weeks for regionals and state for one act. And the Pride is headed to St. Louis in 2 weeks to compete for the regionals there and on to the Grand Nationals in Indianapolis in November.
Which they didn't get to do last year,
That is correct. That is correct. So a lot of great things happening across the district, cross-country regionals coming up. It's just it's a good time to be a BA Tiger.
Absolutely. What about you, Carla?
Well, we have a lot going on instructionally, but I think some of the things we're most proud of are we have our 4 pre-Ks, 4 ECCs, standalone sites. We have our 16 elementaries, our 5 middle schools. But what's really exciting is the last year is we've opened up our, we have BAFA, our freshman academy, but then we've also provided those learning opportunities for our high school kiddos that are available off the main campus. We have early college high school, our Vanguard Academy opened this year, Options Academy. So we're providing a lot of opportunities for different types of learners who want different types of learning environments. Our teachers are just doing an amazing job, and we're just knocking it out of the park.
Which, once again, stuff that never existed when we were
Right.
in that age group. So just fantastic. Well, that is all the time we have. Oh, do you have one more? Please.
I did. I was just going to talk
away.
about our student activities program at Dry Gulch last weekend. Christian Wellborn
leadership retreat, right?
leadership retreat for our students at the high school, and we started out with about 90 students 5 or 6 years ago, and we had 270 or more this past weekend, and they learned skills about what it means to be a BA Tiger and how you can lead and make an impact on your classmates and the kids around you, and make an impact on your school that's bigger than yourself. So
I feel like I should go to that. It's like I'd probably be super beneficial.
it can be a life-changing weekend for a lot of kids.
I imagine.
And it's open to
The teachers,
everybody.
administrators, they
Yes.
love it too. They come back and share.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Carla,
Absolutely.
for joining us on Core Values. I'm Adam Foreman, and we will see you all next time.
Good job.
Thank you.